Sometimes, a single event can shake an entire city to its core. The tragic loss of Renee Nicole Good is one of those moments. On Wednesday, January 7, 2026, a day that started like any other, a life full of promise was cut short on the streets of Minneapolis. Renee was not just a headline or a statistic in a growing conflict. She was a person, a vibrant soul who had recently made Minnesota her home, bringing with her a spirit of creativity and warmth. Her death has left a void that is felt far beyond her immediate circle, touching the hearts of strangers who now mourn her as one of their own. To those who knew her best, Renee was a source of kindness and inspiration. Her wife, Becca Good, remembers her as a devout Christian, someone who truly lived by the principle of caring for others. She was a poet, using words to paint pictures of the world as she saw it, full of beauty and complexity. As a mother to her 6-year-old son and 2 other children, she was a protector and a guide, a constant source of love and support. Her own mother described her simply but powerfully as an amazing human being, a sentiment that echoes through the memories shared by all who loved her. Renee Good was 37 years old, a woman in the prime of her life, building a future with her family. Her presence was a gift, a gentle force for good in a world that often feels harsh. She believed in the power of kindness, in reaching out to a neighbor, in creating a community where everyone felt safe and valued. This was the essence of who she was, a person defined not by the circumstances of her death, but by the love and light she shared so freely during her life. Her story is a painful reminder of how fragile life can be, and how much one person can mean to so many. The news of her death at the hands of a federal officer has sent shockwaves of grief and disbelief across the nation. It is a story that is difficult to comprehend, a narrative filled with sorrow and unanswered questions. In the wake of this tragedy, the community is left to grapple with the loss of a mother, a wife, a poet, and a friend. The memory of Renee Good, the kind and creative soul who saw the best in people, has become a rallying cry for those who now seek to understand what happened, and why her bright light was so suddenly and violently extinguished. The moments leading up to Renee Good's death are shrouded in confusion and conflicting narratives. What we know for sure is that the shooting occurred during a massive federal immigration enforcement operation. The Department of Homeland Security, the agency employing the officer, has put forward a specific version of events. They allege that Renee was attempting to use her vehicle as a weapon, driving toward officers in a way that made them fear for their lives. This official account paints a picture of a dangerous and volatile confrontation, justifying the use of deadly force as a necessary last resort to protect the safety of law enforcement. However, this federal narrative is not the only story being told. Local officials in Minneapolis have presented a starkly different account. Mayor Jacob Frey has publicly challenged the federal government's version, describing the incident not as a justified shooting, but as an agent recklessly using power. This counter-narrative suggests that Renee was not an aggressor, but was instead trying to flee a frightening situation. This version of the story raises serious questions about the agent's conduct and whether the use of lethal force was proportional to any threat she may have posed. The stark contrast between these two stories is at the heart of the community's pain and confusion. The search for truth is further complicated by a struggle over the investigation itself. The FBI has taken the lead, a standard procedure for shootings involving federal officers. Yet, local authorities, including the Hennepin County Attorney's Office, have reported being shut out of the process. They claim they have been denied access to crucial evidence, like Renee's car, which remains in federal custody. This lack of collaboration has created a deep sense of mistrust, making it difficult for the community to believe that a fair and impartial investigation is truly underway. The fight for access to information has become a battle in its own right. This jurisdictional conflict has only intensified the tension between state and federal officials, which was already strained due to Minnesota's sanctuary city policies. Hennepin County Attorney Mary Moriarty has firmly asserted her office's authority to potentially bring charges, directly refuting any claims that the ICE officer might have complete immunity. This public disagreement highlights a fundamental clash over power, accountability, and the rule of law. While officials argue, a grieving family and a heartbroken community are left waiting, caught in the middle of a political firestorm, desperate for clarity and a single truthful account of what happened to Renee. In the wake of the shooting, the city of Minneapolis has become a landscape of collective grief and righteous anger. The community's response has been immediate and unwavering. Vigils have been held across the city, where friends, family, and strangers gather to light candles and share stories of Renee. These quiet moments of remembrance stand in stark contrast to the loud and persistent calls for justice that echo through the streets during protests. People from all walks of life have come together, united in their sorrow and their demand for transparency from the federal government, which they feel has operated in the shadows. The pain of Renee's family is the epicenter of this community-wide heartbreak. Her wife, Becca, has spoken with incredible strength, sharing memories of the woman she loved while also demanding answers for her senseless death. The family's grief is a raw and public wound, and the community has wrapped its arms around them in support. This tragedy has transcended the personal and become a symbol of a larger struggle, sparking a movement that refuses to let Renee's name be forgotten. The calls for truth are not just about this one incident, they are about ensuring that no other family has to endure such a devastating loss. This groundswell of activism has taken on many forms. Recognizing the public's deep distrust in the official investigation, local attorneys have launched a website, creating a platform for citizens to submit any videos or information they might have related to the shooting. This grassroots effort is a powerful statement, an attempt by the community to piece together the truth for themselves. It shows a determination to not rely solely on the narratives provided by those in power. Meanwhile, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz has taken the extraordinary step of putting the National Guard on alert, signaling his readiness to protect residents from what he termed a rogue federal agent. The tension is palpable, not just in Minneapolis, but across the country. Protests have erupted in other major cities, as Renee's story resonates with people who are tired of seeing power go unchecked. The incident has laid bare the deep divisions between federal and state authorities, turning a local tragedy into a national flashpoint. Minnesota's leaders, from the governor to the attorney general, are walking a fine line, trying to calm a grieving public while also challenging federal overreach. The community's response is a testament to its resilience, showing that in the face of tragedy, people will rise up together to demand accountability. In times of immense sorrow and confusion, it can be easy to lose hope. The conflicting stories, the political battles, and the slow pace of the investigation can feel overwhelming. But what has emerged from the heartbreak of Renee Good's death is a powerful and inspiring display of unity. People who were once strangers are now standing side by side, bound by a common purpose, to find the truth and secure justice for Renee and her family. This collective spirit is a beacon of light in a dark time, a reminder that even in the face of tragedy, a community can find strength in togetherness and a shared sense of humanity. This is more than just a protest, it is a profound act of love and solidarity. It is about honoring the memory of a woman who believed in kindness by demanding a world that is more just and compassionate. Every vigil, every march, and every call for transparency is a declaration that Renee's life mattered. It is a promise to her family that they are not alone in their fight. The community has become an extension of her family, a network of support that will not rest until their questions are answered and accountability is achieved. This is what it means to stand up for one another. The path forward will not be easy. There will be obstacles, and the search for truth may be long and arduous. But the spirit of this movement is resilient. The people of Minneapolis, and those standing with them across the country, have shown that they will not be silenced or deterred. They will continue to ask the hard questions, to challenge official narratives, and to demand that those in power be held to the highest standard of accountability. This unwavering determination is the most powerful tool we have in the pursuit of justice, not just for Renee, but for every person who has been a victim of unchecked power. Ultimately, this story is about the enduring power of hope. It is the hope that truth will prevail over secrecy, that justice will triumph over injustice, and that a community united can bring about meaningful change. The legacy of Renee Good will not be defined by the tragedy of her death, but by the love and unity she inspired. It is a legacy that calls on each of us to be more vigilant, more compassionate, and more willing to stand up for what is right. In honoring her memory, we reaffirm our commitment to building a better, safer, and more just world for everyone.